Today we're going to be going over 5 overpriced fragrances that I think are, well, just that. They cost too much and they're not really worth purchasing at the price point that they command. But we're also going to be going over 5 underpriced fragrances, ones that I think could be going for a lot more and people wouldn't blink an eye. So we'll start off with the good first, the underpriced scents. Now, a lot of these here are going for a low price, so there's 2 ways to go about this. I could have chosen things that were already, $60, $70, $80 and then say that they could go for more, which there are definitely scents out there that could command that. But these are going to be all in the cheaper price range, anywhere from 20 to maybe 40, 45 bucks. But I do think that they could go for at least double their price, if not even more than that. Like, these are all really unique. They've got good quality. A few of these have really good performance. They're just really, really solid. The first one is Davidoff Cool Water, Grapefruit and Sage. So typically cool water is affordable, right? I mean, kinda. For the longest time, cool water parfum, 50 ml has been going for like 40 bucks. That's not really cheap. Double that to a 100 ml and now you're paying 80 bucks, right? So that one's always been pricey, which I love cool water parfum, but it's been a little bit tricky. You have the original, which is always going to be the cheapest, but then you have things like Reborn and the Intense and everything like that. Prices kind of are all over the board. Cool Water Grapefruit and Sage has been like 20 bucks consistently. Even when it was pretty much a brand new release, when this one popped up on discounters, it was already on clearance for $20 even. I remember it vividly on FragranceNet. That's where it was. That's where I bought mine, this one, for 20 bucks. And just given the track record of the Cool Water line, 1 or 2 I really like, the rest are not my favorites. I wasn't for sure what to expect with this one. And the fact that it was already on clearance, new, paying 20 bucks, I didn't really know. But I'll say this one is really good and it far exceeded my expectations. I think it's a great scent. And I mean, the name is indicative of what you get. Grapefruit, nice citrusy, fresh and bright, and an aromatic sage, geranium, lavender undertone. Smells really, really nice. It's not quite as fresh and aquatic and soapy as the Eau de Toilette. You got a little bit more of a aromatic, slight woodiness going on here. And then, of course, a lot of grapefruit and citrus off the top. If this one was already priced at $40, $50, I would say that it's about on par. 40, 50 bucks, 100 mil, wouldn't pay any more for it, right? But the fact that you can get this one for $20, I think that's pretty impressive, and it's definitely worth that, if not more. Very fairly priced scent on discounters, and that's the key thing. If you didn't figure that out, I'm not talking retail prices. Now, this next one is Aaro Porom Cologne Intense. Pretty big fan of the Aaro Porom lineup. Aaro Porom Intense being my favorite within the line. That one recently popped up here recently. 100 ml testers without cap, 47 bucks. Great price considering it's been non-existent for the past at least couple of years. Really good release that you should pick up if you haven't yet. But this one is going to be obviously a fresher cologne style take on the line in general. So you still get a little bit of the aromatic fougere deal going on. That's what makes up the original Aaro Porom. But then, just fresher. It's got lime and lavender and mastic, which to this day I just don't get that one. Mastic, I don't know. Not sure. Not going to pretend like I know what that smells like. But I could definitely pick up on the lime. Definitely getting the bright, sour punchiness that this one exudes off the top. And then as you get further on, a very prominent musky note starts to come into play as well. And they list off 3 notes, and that's all they kind of give you. Of course, there's more going on than that. Definitely getting some sort of like cashmere note in here. Maybe even a bit of ISOE Super going along with it. I'm sure this one's pretty well loaded up with aroma chemicals, which is okay. It's a very fresh, bright scent coming in at an affordable price, so it would make sense. I don't expect this to be produced with all natural ingredients, but I really, really like it. It's a little bit below average price for the Aaro Poroms, but I do think it could go for quite a bit more. If I had to pay more for this, I would do it. I just think it's a really nice, classy, easygoing, fresh summer scent. just not following the trend of the others, which is the key player here. You know, it's going to be a little bit more grown up. So speaking of fresh fragrances, this one has quite a bit of power behind it. You know, when you spray it up in the air, spray it on your skin or whatever, it's punchy, it's strong, it sticks around. And it's another really refreshing one with just a nice, familiar smell to it, but at the same time, with its own little twist. So it is Tumi Awake. Now, I understand they have an extrait as well, but I'm just talking the original because this one is, no surprise, going to be more affordable than the extrait. This one is right at about $100, okay? And I do think, given what it smells similar to and given just the quality that this one kind of gives you for the price, I think it could go for a bit more. I don't think that would be necessarily unfair to ask. The reason why is because, remember, we're in the world of expensive designer fragrances at this point. It's not uncommon to see $150, $160 scents and beyond. The power that this one puts off, mixed with the quality and the smell and everything about it, it's very fairly priced. And if it was going for a bit more, I think that would be okay. And I'm not saying it should go for, you know, $200 or something crazy like that, but a little bit more I don't think would be a unfair ask. So it's got cypress, fir, clary sage, cedarwood. It will remind you a little bit of like a YSL Eau de Parfum, but not quite as appley, bubblegummy sweet, essentially. So they are focusing a little bit more on the aromatics here. The quality is, in my opinion, it's just as good as the YSL, which is, you know, not always that common. You have other designer brands out there. YSL, Dior, Chanel, Armani, they're kind of at the top of the game in terms of designer quality. This one can hang, though. It really is a solid scent for the price point. And I think a few of these Tumi scents are really good. 19 Degree, which is very expensive, but it's really good as well. Fantastic, unique release. That one's an extrait, just a great scent. It's going to be a little bit too expensive to be in this video, but this one, I mean, it's a great, super, super reasonably priced scent. And if that's still too expensive for you, we'll kind of go back down to a more normal price range here. This is, I think, $30 to $35, somewhere around in there. It's Ferragamo Bright Leather. Love it. It's a great one. This one, it has white leather, rosemary, and musk. Now, what does it remind me of? What does it smell like? To me, it reminds me a lot of Fahrenheit Aqua / Fahrenheit Cologne. It can kind of go either direction. Now, interestingly enough, they're not listing off violet leaves in here or a violet leaf note, but it has it. Like, it's there and it's prominent. I've said it before, it's a very distinct smell. When it's there, you pick up on it. I'm getting it. It is there. It has to be, unless some of the notes that they have combined here is giving off a very similar smell. But I mean, I pick up on it. And that is one of the key things that ties this back to the Fahrenheit Aqua, Fahrenheit Cologne, just mixed with the fact that this one does have a lot of citrus as well, hence the name Bright. Now the leather, okay, a white leather, bright leather, it's very, very mild. It's not earthy or animalic at all. It's kind of like a fresh, soapy leather, essentially, mixing with this violet leaf smell and the citruses. This is a really, really good, unique summertime scent. Now remember, Fahrenheit Aqua, Fahrenheit Cologne, whichever one you prefer, it doesn't matter. They're both discontinued anyway. You really can't get them anymore. And even when they were in production, they were $100. This is, again, in that $30 to low $40 range. I think that's very reasonable. Now, this was going for $60, $70, $80. I think it's worth a purchase at that point. It's still lower than what it smelled similar to before those got discontinued, and just is something exciting and fun for summertime. You know, it's definitely going to be a head turner. Now, last up for the underpriced scents here. This one's like a $20 scent, 20, maybe 25, somewhere around in there. Talked about it before. I really enjoy it, and I think it could go for more than what it goes for. Perry Ellis Aqua Extreme. So, blue bottle, you know, Aqua name. Is it blue fragrance inspired? Yes, it is. It's got lavender, geranium, juniper, and even a nice little unique tobacco note, which is not very prominent, okay, but more of a tobacco leaf, I would say, a lighter, brighter, fresher tobacco, but it's not prominent, not strong at all, okay? So to me, reminds me a bit of Dylan Blue, reminds me a little bit of like a Bleu de Chanel Sauvage inspiration, kind of mixing a few expensive blue fragrances together and then just undercutting them, coming in at mid $20. Performance is also fair. It's not 100% beast mode out of control, but at this price point, it does a good job. So I think this one could easily be going for more. You know, if it was $40, $45, I think that would still be a reasonable ask. You know, it's putting it right in line with Dylan Blue, and then you might say, oh, just buy Dylan Blue instead. But this one isn't a Dylan Blue clone. You know, it's incorporating some other blue smells also, and still just has a really nice kind of aromatic take on the blue fragrance smell, which Dylan Blue doesn't really have. It's pretty much smoky and sweet and ambroxan heavy. But I like the lavender. I like the geranium. I mean, you can pick up on those notes just smelling the atomizer. So it's a nice little bit of a different take on the very popular blue scent DNA. And the fact that you can get this one for such a low price, it's a great purchase. Now let's get into the expensive stuff. So I just want to preface this by saying, you know, I'm saying these are overpriced because I believe that they are. Am I saying that these are bad fragrances? No, I'm not. This is always just I don't know, it's a struggle. People just get upset, you know, when you say you don't agree with their favorite scent or something. I'm not criticizing these fragrances. I just think in a world where you can get your hands on pretty much anything for, you know, a fair price for the most part, these aren't it. So, you know, just something to think about. Calvin Klein Defy Eau de Parfum. I think it smells nice, okay? It's got orange, leather, and suede in here. You know, it's promising note breakdown, smells okay. Not too strong of a leather, but also not an overly fresh scent either. It's kind of riding the line. I do prefer Calvin Klein Defy Eau de Toilette better, okay? This one really hasn't landed on discounters. It's still going for retail, $80, $85, I believe is right around where it's at. Somewhere around in there. I just don't think it's worth that price, okay? If you could get it on discounters for 20 bucks or something, it might not be a bad pickup, but right now, I just don't think this one is something that you should rush out and dump your money into. That being said, it is not a horrible scent either. Next up, we have YSL Tuxedo. The price on this one just keeps going up, and I've been, you know, vocal about that before because every time I bring up a cologne, not cologne. Every time I bring up a tuxedo clone, I always reference the price of this because I try to make it apparent. Tuxedo clone for 30 bucks, tuxedo for 290. That's where it is now. Back when I bought this bottle, okay, the only way I could afford this when I bought this was to decant it out. This was years and years and years ago. So that's why I ended up with so little. That's all I kept because in order to offset the cost, I had to do that. This was 250 bucks when I bought it, okay? Retail 120 ml or 125 or, yeah, 125. And so for the longest time I was saying, yeah, it retails for 250, it's expensive. Then I went back and looked and I could have sworn then it was at like 270, 275. And I was thinking, okay, that seems a little bit more expensive than what I paid for it, but okay, you know, I'll adjust my information and make sure I stay accurate. And then I looked again very recently and it's like 290 now. So every time I look, it's more expensive. Hence why I say get any of the clones. And there are so many. You could spend 20 bucks on one, you could spend 45, 50 bucks on one, and you're still coming out ahead, not spending nearly this much money. I love YSL Tuxedo. I think it is amazing. The scent DNA is one of the most unique out there. But 290 bucks for this, it's just too much. Next up, we have Carolina Herrera Bad Boy Cobalt. You know, this one on discounters even is still floating up around 100. I just think that's too rich for my blood, especially when you can get Bad Boy Le Parfum for quite a bit less than that. And I think Bad Boy Le Parfum is a lot better and it's more unique. Now it's got a cannabis note and some pepper and things like that. So it's a little bit more spicy, a little bit more punchy and textured and has this kind of a leathery roughness to it as well. This one's fresher. You know, it's called like a, I don't know, it's cobalt electric or something like that. So given that, the name, the presentation being blue, and some of the notes, it kind of looks like a summery scent, but it's not really necessarily that. It's got plum, truffle, and geranium. So you kind of got a chocolatey sweetness and then a sweeter, fruity plum note. Now, plum can be used in fresher scents, like Rasasi House, for example. But when you're also mixing that with sweeter notes as well, I don't know, it just doesn't really work. Again, that's not me saying that this is a bad scent. I don't think it's bad. I just think for the money spent, you could get something better. If this were to come down drastically, then maybe we could talk. But right now, I don't know, it's kind of pricey. Next up, we have Perry Ellis. So, you know, they already did good. One of their scents, I think it's underpriced. This one, I do think it is overpriced. It is Sky. So Perry Ellis Sky, okay? Now, this one's got lime, watery notes, mint, and ambroxan. It smells great. Really, really good scent. Refreshing, green, blue, kind of minty, cooling, soapy. I like it, you know. There's nothing wrong with how it smells. It has a really nice, freshly washed clothes, linen smell. Like it legitimately smells like you're hanging up your clothes on a clothesline to dry out on a spring or summer morning, if anybody still uses clotheslines, right? Just to give you an idea, very fresh linen, soapy, clean smelling. Smells nice. But you can't get it on discounters. It's another one that's $80, $85. I wouldn't pay that for this. There's so many other things you could get for that price. Multiple things you could get for that price. It shouldn't be this. Last up for this video, this one has been appalling to me for years. For years, I have wondered why this, on discounters, is still so expensive, especially when there are other fragrances from this brand that, in my opinion, are underpriced. Abercrombie & Fitch Fierce. I just don't understand. I mean, it's still like $80, $90, $100 on discounters. That's insane. You could get Mont Blanc Legend, the Eau de Toilette, the original, the OG, for what, 30 bucks, 35, maybe 40 pushing it, but I think less than that. That gets you really close. It's an oak moss and musk-based scent, and that's what this is. I just don't see the purpose of spending this much on this, especially these days. And what do I think is underpriced from the brand? Abercrombie & Fitch First Instinct. That's a $20 to $25 scent all day long, and it is worlds more unique and appealing than this one, in my opinion. And if you want to toss in an extra 10 bucks, you could get First Instinct Extreme, which is also really, really good. Those are way better than this. Just, I don't know. Don't buy this. All right, you guys, there you have it. Those are some fragrances that are overpriced and underpriced. Everything in here is good. I mean, as far as getting compliments and massive pleasing and versatility, I don't think any of these would really lead you in the wrong direction. Some are better purchases than others, though, so just be conscious of where you're putting your money. For these expensive ones, maybe you could find clones of some of those like I've talked about. For the cheap ones, I mean, those are as good as it gets. I will link them all down below. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.